You know, it's pretty sad when the UN has to lead the way regarding autonomy, sovereignty, and freedom in the world. I mean, think about that for a minute. Regarding this issue in Venezuela, they are more on the side of freedom and autonomy than we are. They had a vote before the 35-member Security Council. 19 voted to leave Venezuela as is, while 16 wanted to side with the United States and perform regime change. Now, I have tried very hard to not call this guy on the right an enemy of the American people, but boy, I tell you what, he's getting there. He is really, really getting there, because he has been calling for, and this is where he's mincing words, multiple times he has called upon the Venezuelan military to step up and become seditionists and treasonous and overthrow that government when it's none of his business. Since when can a sitting U.S. senator attempt to contact the leader of a foreign military for the purposes of fomenting insurrection? If that's not an arrestable offense, I don't know what is. Now, I know next clip is CNN, but they ask a really, really good question here. I don't normally use them, but this way you can actually hear Mr. Rubio in his own words.
I know that no decisions have been made, and I know that efforts are being made to avoid any sort of military action by the U.S. in Venezuela, but you have said that all options should be on the table, including potentially U.S. military force if Maduro doesn't back down, if U.S. diplomats in Venezuela are at risk. How would you explain to the families of American service members why it's worth potentially risking their lives to go to Venezuela?
Well, first of all, I don't know of anyone who's calling for military intervention. What I'm calling for is for the Constitution to be followed, for military officials in Venezuela to follow and uphold the Constitution they swore allegiance to, for Juan Guaido to be able to act as interim president until we have a new valid election so we can support that new democratic government. That's what I'm calling for. The United States always retains the right, always, anywhere in the world, in any instance, to protect its national security. So I'm not going to justify military intervention because I don't know who's calling for that. What I've said is everything is an option because we always have an option of defending our national security in cases where it's threatened. Why we should care about Venezuela is a different topic. It is in our national interest to care. Why? They allow the ELN and other drug trafficking networks to flood our country with cocaine and drugs. They've invited the Russians repeatedly to open military installations in our own hemisphere. And they are destabilizing the entire region. 700,000 migrants in Peru, over 1.5 million to 2 million in Colombia. This is a regional catastrophe. Another 2 million Venezuelans this year could go into different countries, further destabilizing these nations who happen to be allies and key partners in the anti-war counter-drug effort. So this is in our national interest to care about what's happening there. And it's always in our national interest to support people, especially in our hemisphere, who are putting their lives on the line for democracy.
Now, there is so much wrong with what he just said. It is frightening. Let me close this out.
We're tracking developments in the Philippines.
All right. First of all, the ELN and the FARC don't traffic drugs to the United States. The AUC and the AGC and the Oficina de Envigados do. The right-wing paramilitaries. And if his allegation is that anybody who deals with a foreign power that we don't like becomes a threat to our national security, we're going to be invading a lot of countries for a long time. Now, also the idea here that the Russian bases, the turning to China, that wasn't their first choice, Mr. Rubio. That's why they fly F-16s. They were our ally. The sanctions, the illegal executive order, the calling for the overthrow of a duly elected government. Just because your guys chose to not participate in the last election doesn't make it a not valid election. This is what most Americans don't get. But I found something today that I think a lot of you will find interesting, given what we know about the ability of the media to pick winners and losers. Now, here's a picture of Mr. Random Guy named Juan at one of his infamous rallies. Now, this is a close-up shot. Here is a zoomed-out shot. This is from Reuters. This shot has been heavily doctored. Now, you wouldn't know this unless you had a picture from another angle. Here's the exact same rally. I want you to pay attention to right here to what would be his stage left. These two monitors right here. See the height of the stage? Now, let's go back to this picture. The monitors have been deleted and pictures of photographers have been put in. And they're aiming their cameras straight down at the crowd. The monitors that were here are now gone. There's not enough room on that stage for everything that they're showing. Also, do you see the woman kneeling right here to the left in the red shirt? Okay, she's back here somewhere. But you see this woman right here? She would literally, she's standing up, she would have to have her entire body going through the stage in some kind of a hole. All of these pictures you see of people along the side, there's a guy, it's kind of hard back to see by this white flag, and I'll give a link to this picture. He's aiming his camera off at the trees. This guy is aiming his camera, looks like about 3 feet up into the right of this guy's head. This guy here is attempting to lean forward to gain about 10 feet on a zoom. There's no way he would do this. This guy is fake, this person is fake, this person is fake. And when you look down at the crowd, there's absolutely nothing showing up on any of these smartphones. They're all black screen. They're all fake. This guy with the helmet right here, I think honestly he was photoshopped in to cover something up. Also, look at this podium where they have this flag, this coat of arms. Let's go back to the side picture. Where is it? It would have had to have been right here. These are both Reuters pictures. The height of this stage doesn't match up with this picture, because if you look real closely, you can't see it probably with what I'm showing here, but you can see right here, there's a faint reflection of a face, which looks like this guy right here. This podium would have had to have been very close to the edge of this stage. There is no room for all of this crap that they have photoshopped in. They are attempting to make this guy look a lot more popular than what he is. And I'm not saying that it isn't possible, to get a rally in Venezuela going for the opposition that has thousands and thousands of people. That's my entire point. If what they're saying about Nicolas Maduro were true, that he's some evil, terrible, horrible socialist dictator that terrifies everyone, that they're so afraid they can't even protest in the streets. Explain the 23rd of January. There were no mass arrests. Did you see any tanks? Did you see any massive military forces coming in and tear gassing and shooting? And no. Because guarantee, had that been the case, there would be video and pictures of it all over the internet, attempting to demonize Maduro. But do you see it? No. You absolutely don't. Because it's not true. This is the bullshit they try to pull. They take a little bit of true information, and this in the zoom up you can see. I think this is Wido's girlfriend or wife or whatever, and there's this woman here, and there's this guy in the red checkered shirt, and there's this woman here with this telephoto lens who's only 4 feet away, which is odd, but you can see her here in this picture as well. But all this crap around the front, they have added in. And if you go back to this other side picture, in some of these right here, you can see a little bit in this guy's smartphone of what's in front of him. And here as well. Over here, you see a guy holding up a smartphone, and I don't know what's on it, but it's half black screen and half red. It's definitely not there. They're doctoring photos. And you know when they doctor photos, you know what that means. That they're attempting to construct a narrative. There is a reality on the ground that they want you to believe, and then there's the actual reality. Is Venezuela a perfect place? No, absolutely not. Are there shortages? Yes. Have there been problems? Absolutely. Not denying any of that. For anyone in this, within the sound of my voice, who's a Venezuelan, or has family or friends down there, don't think for 1 minute this channel is saying that there has never been any problems or any starvation. The U.S. has largely overblown it, and the U.S. has created the situation so that they could set up the solution. Your president, Nicolas Maduro, who's not a perfect man, and he's even admitted that, is not the reason your country is having the problems it is. The reason your country is having the problem it is the United States wants your resources and does not want you to be Venezuelans anymore. It's just that simple. And I'm sorry, and on behalf of all Americans everywhere, I apologize. But our country, our government, Washington, D.C., does this. They have our populace in chains. You're just next. And this guy's fomenting it. It is unfortunate that we are in a position in our country that our government no longer speaks for our people. But they were able to make most of us believe, at least temporarily, that 19 Saudis hijacked planes and destroyed 2 buildings in New York, and as a result, the fix for that was to invade Iraq and Afghanistan because 19 Saudi nationals did this. That's what they have the ability to make the world believe. So this is not out of their realm of abilities. But we have a problem. Because we have a sitting senator who is now attempting to contact the leaders of foreign militaries and attempt to foment coups. I would really like someone to explain for me how that is not criminal. I'll leave it there. Like, share, subscribe.